What up, y'all? It's I2I35, aka Josiah David, and welcome to another episode of the Correcting SolRosenberg84 series. And this one is titled Response to Silly Canadians, in which he talks about the relations between Canada and America, and that why Canadians are not silly and such, and how in certain ways America has to rely on Canada and such. I don't want to say that, dude, bro, Mike, you should really cut down on the cussing and cursing, because you're really making yourself weird and illogical and silly. Just really making yourself go berserk in all your points and such. It really doesn't make any sense. And actually, this video is a response to Silly Canadians made by a guy called StevenCrowder. I'd say the only thing about Canada, which I'm really impressed about, is basically like the maple syrup, how it sells like 75% of the maple syrup around the world. And I love pancakes, actually. I never thought that Canadians were silly, and I understand that Mike maybe wanted to make this video because he himself is Canadian and perhaps he felt offended. That's completely understandable. But stereotypes are interesting, but don't use them in a mocking kind of way. I would agree with that. Canada is a good ally of the US, and it's a good thing that the US does not invade Canada. This is a sort of like different way of saying like, yeah, it has all the power to do it, but no, it has no reason to invade Canada because Canada is its ally. I will admit that one thing I do dislike about Canada is the fact that a lot of things cost several dollars more than they do in America. I felt really uncomfortable by that sometimes. There's nothing to really complain about here. You gotta be glad that America and Canada are both in the same boat and they're actually both for the same things, and I'm happy for the fact that even Canada supports Israel. Its main leader actually supports Israel. And Canada certainly is a beautiful country. It has a lot of great natural resources. That's a great blessing. And I might want to say even Canada is filled with a lot of smart people, but some of them can use it for the totally wrong things in a totally wrong way. Just like Saul Rosenberg. He's very smart, but he's duped. And I happen to know a lot of Canadian actors and actresses who are very well at acting. But I think it's kind of rude to be calling Canadians silly. Some people out of Canada may be silly, but the country as a whole is not silly. But honestly, I've met a lot of Canadians. They're very smart. They're very kind. The relations between Canada and America, it's a two-way street, and that's great, and it should be kept going that way. And I think, I don't know if anyone has rivals in any other country or such. It's best basically just to keep yourself to yourself. I'm not sure if there's much to say about this video, but basically saying silly Canadians is rather quite... But saying silly Canadians is rather quite offensive, just like I don't want to say that Iraq is filled with stupid Iraqis. I'd have to say just a lot of duped Iraqis and those who are just desensitizing themselves, for example, and that Iraq needs to be freed. So is a lot of people in the Mideast, for example. It's basically they're dictators and such that are really making them go bad and such. That's just one example. So there are a lot of things that can get solved here. The answers are out there in how things really go on. So, that's all I have to say for this video. Peace out, keep thinking, Jesus bless you, and TTFN, ta-da for now.